Good morning. Good morning. Are we alive?
Yes, Mr. Maybeck, how are you?
Good morning. Are we all in the house or what's going on?
I think so. I'm in the house, and I think others are there.
Good morning, members. I'm still trying to get hold of the chairperson.
I think those who are not here didn't make it to the list.
Mr. Ge,
Nosipo,
I'm trying to get hold of chairperson.
yeah, let me try him. Because I was calling Tseki. He says he's struggling with the connection. I don't know what is the problem today. Honorable Leon, I'm here.
Good morning. I'm here.
I'm here too.
I said those who are not here, maybe they did not make it to the party lists.
No. That thing is not there, man. I did not make it, but I'm here.
Okay.
The same here.
Okay. That's good.
Definitely.
How you did not make it? You did not
all
make
of
it
them.
great.
I did not make it, but I'm here.
What's the problem? They'll never
So it's
leave you
either here
alone.
or there. I'm still a member of parliament up until the 29th of May.
Where's Mashiro now?
Oh,
yeah.
Pape motho wa hao. Mmatle tu, ngwaneso. It's a surprise.
Okay,
Pape surprise.
Yeah.
He thinks that the meeting is 9:30. This one, I doubt.
"15 minutes after this, the meeting is gone. We are leaving. You must check your rules."
No, Mhlali. No. This rule is not applicable in parliament. It is applicable in the municipalities.
We can't be waiting for all these people.
So can the Honourable Grace tell us how long should we hang around waiting until we carry on and do some meaningful work instead of sitting here waiting for a chairman that doesn't come out?
Honorable Maybeck, I'm trying to locate the other members of parliament who are not of this committee who are not connected. I think, as much as I'm not the chair for now, but let's wait a bit. Maybe what time is it now? Because the other one says he thought that the meeting is starting at 9:30. Surely even the chair has misread the invite. So I'm not quite sure. Can we suspend this meeting up until 9:30?
I've
But
got
we're
another
trying
meeting
Not on the
Okay.
Grace.
we're
You
trying
call
to
us for a meeting, then you then give yourself times that doesn't exist, guys. You call the meeting for 9. Now your people are saying 9:30. And
my
majority
people,
of the people that are not here is the ANC people. I agree with the person.
No, we understand.
Yeah,
Pardon
the issue of the list, the problem.
our apologies, guys. It's tough, guys. We all understand.
No, now your internal factional battles are affecting us now.
No.
Kom die moeilikheid.
No, it's not all about politics, comrades. It's about the invite.
No comment.
The time that was allocated.
Yes, I think the old elephant is tired. We must put him out to pasture to go and retire. The time for change. Time for change.
Good morning, members.
Good morning. Good morning.
We have enough numbers to start the meeting. I advise that the members nominate a member who's going to chair the meeting until we get hold of the chairperson.
No, Sipo. Yeah, I know and understand that we have not nominated a chair, but I've requested honorable members that we wait just a bit because we are trying to locate other members. I've called Matuba and Tseki. They thought that the meeting
is on the platform now.
It's always on the platform now. Let's check.
Yes, it is on.
Yeah, hence I thought that we'll start at 9:30.
Okay.
You are very disorganized.
Okay, Honourable Grace Cheke. I'm going to leave now. If you can get the committee can get their act together, maybe Talent or somebody can call me when you are ready to proceed. But I've been here now for almost 15 minutes. So I'm giving notice that I'm leaving now until further notice. Please let me know what's happening. Thank you.
Secretary, I'm also leaving. I've got another meeting as well. So let me know when this meeting continues. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, now I'm also leaving.
Don't leave, Nikala.
No, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I've got other things also to do. You must remember we are so busy on the ground, yeah? Constituency work and everything. So we cannot have this situation happening. You'll call us, we'll join the meeting. There's no problem. Tell Nozipo to call us. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. The same for me, please. If we can just be notified when the meeting's going to go ahead, or if it's going to go ahead, either via phone call or I think we have that WhatsApp group, but a phone call would be preferable. Thank you.
Officials, don't leave. I managed to get hold of a chairperson. he will connect just now.
Okay.
Do you have meet people in the meeting? I'm told that the meeting was postponed for our past. My apologies for being late. I was struggling to enter.
We are here, Chairperson.
We're here, Chair.
If that is the case, can we start meeting then? If that's the case, my apologies. Really, I was struggling to access the meeting. Let's display the agenda. There is the agenda opening and welcome. As I have said, I have already sent my apologies. I hope you accept my apologies. The meeting is duly opened. I know that we are now finalizing the bill. We had a 2-day session of talking to the clauses that we think we needed to amend. We did so. I think today is the final time for us to adopt the bill and send it to Parliament. Having said that, let's observe a moment of silence for meditation and of prayer. Thank you very much. Apologies, Nosipo.
Yes,
the first one is
Uma Mushlwa is not admitted in hospital.
What I say?
I'm saying Chairperson Uma Mushlwa is not well and admitted in hospital.
Okay. Only?
Yes, only her, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. There is apologies. One apology is recorded. Can we add the presentation on the proposed bill?
Greetings, Chairperson and the members in the House. Again, my name is Phumelele Ngema, the Parliamentary Legal Advisor. I will make an attempt to take the committee through the proposed amendments, and Chairperson, with your permission, may I light up the proposed amendments. Chairperson, to preface my presentation, and the members, you would recall, as you have said, the deliberations and the submissions from the public have taken place. So what we have today is an attempt to speak to the deliberations of the committee having been influenced or taken consideration of the proposals or suggestions or submissions that came from the public during the public participation process of the committee. Chairperson, I also want to indicate that it is true that words are power, and they are very powerful, more so when they find their way into the statute book. Hence, the first amendment, Chairperson, is in relationship to the clause 1, which are the definition provisions of the bill. The first amendments, Chairperson, is just a correction on the reference to the section that is within the Act. As it was spoken to when we were looking at the bill, we found that there was incorrect reference. Instead, it should have been section 8 than what appeared in that provision on page 4 in line 32. The second one, Chairperson, is a definition for a waterwork, and perhaps just to indicate that with the eventual one that is before the members, in the existing National Water Act, the government waterwork is defined as well as a waterwork. So what we have done for purposes of this bill, in an attempt to speak to the considerations and the challenges or legal issues that were raised, we came up with this suggestion for members to consider in defining waterwork. So Chairperson, the definition is found on page 5 in line 37. So whatever appears there, if the members and the committee so agree, because the initial definition was making reference to the National Water Act, and the National Water Act is defining both a government waterwork as well as a waterwork. So what we have done is an attempt to incorporate a definition for waterwork for purposes of this bill, which also speaks to water infrastructure resources. So the definition we are suggesting is as follows. A waterwork means a government waterwork owned or controlled by the minister and includes any borehole, dam, way, canal, pipeline, siphon, pump, station, reservoir, structure, earthwork, or equipment installed or used for or in connection with water use. Chairperson, you may have to guide me whether I stop per clause and then members deliberate in the adoption process, or I read the whole document, then only at the end the chairperson will lead the process of consideration and adoption. May I be guided?
How many clauses are we going to deal with, where we're going to amend?
I didn't do the count, Chairperson. If I may quickly, it's clause 1, clause 3, clause 7, clause 9, and then clause 17, and clause 34 and 35. That makes about 7, Chairperson.
Let's try to deal them. Yeah, let's try to deal them one by one. 7 is not that many.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will then stop at clause 1, and the Chairperson will take over the meeting.
Can I see hands on the podium? Stephen Moore's hand is up. Only that hands for now. Rebecca Mokhala, the Honorable, and Honorable Tseke, Honorable Hendricks. Let's start that way. Stephen, Honorable Moore, Honorable Mokhala, Honorable Tseke, and Honorable Hendricks.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just clause 1.1, I don't think there's an issue there. It was a mistake in the first place. Clause 1.2, though, we've created a problem in this definition because the waterwork means a government waterwork owned or controlled by the minister. But if we go to Chapter 6, Clause 37B, the minister may declare by notice in the Gazette which government waterworks are deemed to be national waterworks. So we've created a cycle, because he's allowed to say which waterworks are part of this agency, but he can only include, by this definition, waterworks he already controls. So there's no way for him to expand the number of waterworks under his control due to this definition being limited to those that are owned by or controlled by the minister. So this change of waterwork, I'm sure it's well intended, but it creates a cyclical definition that breaks the later clauses. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Mokhala.
Oh, Chairperson, actually my hand was, I raised my hand by mistake. But Chairperson, I'm a little bit worried now. The meeting was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. You people from the ANC only come to the meeting at 9:30. We're supposed to be sitting on this platform for about 30 minutes without you joining the meeting. Only when you join the meeting now, when everyone have left this platform of the meeting. It is wrong. It must never happen. When you call 9 o'clock, you call 9 o'clock. The meeting must sit at 9 o'clock. Not this thing of yours. You call a meeting at 9, 10 o'clock, you arrive. We must be sitting on this platform waiting for you. It's really out of order, Chairperson. It must come to an end. When the meeting is 9 o'clock, it must be 9 o'clock. If you are not sure of that you'll make it by 9 o'clock, please inform us in time, a day before that the meeting is now for 9:30. We can't be sitting here waiting for you. You only send Tseki to come and control us here and manage us when you are still stuck on something. Thank you so much. Please, this thing must come to an end. We're not going to tolerate it.
Mokhala, did I not apologize for delaying your meeting? I did, because I know it was wrong of me to do that. It was not an
We were not
organizational
here,
matter.
we were gone. No one is even calling us. Your secretaries are not even calling us. We left the meeting because we have other commitment as well to do outside this meeting. Now we just joined by ourselves because we thought maybe they are back, those people. It must come to an end, Mashiro. This thing is very out of order. We must be treated.
Honorable Mukhala, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying the meeting was not delayed by an organizational principle. It was me who was late to the meeting, and I've apologized to the meeting. If you are saying you do not accept that apology, say so, but don't organizationalize it. It is me who delayed the meeting, not the ANC, but me as a person. And I've apologized for that.
It was not only you who was not in the meeting. All ANC caucus was not in the meeting except Grace, Honorable Grace. All your people were not in the meeting. So it's an organizational caucus.
I was also in the meeting. How can you say
don't come to the meeting?
Grace?
No, I don't know who was in the meeting, but I was not in the meeting. Honorable
All of you were not in the meeting. All of you were not in the meeting.
No, not all of us.
Grace came to manage us, to tell us
don't behave like that in a meeting. Let get the responses and we can move. What are you saying, Honorable Seke?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think Honorable Mathala has made her point. And I think, Chairperson, we have apologized upfront. And I think all of us are taking your apology, Chair. It happens at most that we have a technical problem in terms of connection. I don't think it was in your own making. Chair, with regard to the definition of the water work, I think it was the input by the Western Cape government which made us to define this water work the way we did now. And I think from our side, or from my side where I'm seated, I'm comfortable with the definition as is.
Honorable Hendricks.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the definition is very important, and we've heard the Honorable member earlier on speaking about possible conflict. In the context that water must be a right, I know at the moment it's only access. But in the context that water must be a right, and this legislation is for a long time, hopefully, we need to get it right. From my experience on the oversight visit you took us to in Port Elizabeth, I was very concerned that while there was a day zero looming and people were dying of thirst in Oudtshoorn, that 70% of the water goes to the oranges. Because for some reason, farmers own the water and can block the water. So it's important that the state, in this case the minister, the honorable minister, should on behalf of the people of South Africa have every water works under his control for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of oranges and white farmers. So, Chairman, we need to have a careful look at the definition. The minister or the government, not the ANC, the minister or the government, whoever it is, of any political party who's in charge of the country, must control the water so that every citizen in the country has a right to water. So we need some guidance there, Honorable Chair, and I hope that you will use the wisdom of Solomon to guide us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure we must move from a premise that the minister or the department or government control everything that is in South Africa which has got to do with water. However, because it is said the minister must be having been in control of those, that then people will apply from him to sub-delegate some of the responsibilities. For instance, Then you have got something called water rights. You have got something called boreholes that you can do at your own house. It is also water, those boreholes. Now, those are starting to be individual boreholes that the minister will have allowed you to do. It's a pity that you are not applying when you do them at my farm in Bushbuck, at my home in the farm in Bushbuck Ridge. I don't apply, but we are supposed to apply to the minister that we want to do a borehole. And this borehole must be regulated, that you cannot expunge so many liters of water in this particular day in time. But overall, it is the minister who must give that go ahead. So what you are saying, Honorable Hendricks, that the minister, in him giving away certain rights of the water, preference must never be given to private people, firstly, to farmers, to animals, and to fruits and vegetables. I hear you. But now, in the process, there was a definition called for earlier before Western Cape came, which was saying specifically it was taking away the private owned land. And that private owned land coming to being after the ministers, they will have given away those particular rights. So you are saying we must be very guarding that we do not favor minister. The minister must be made aware that he should not favor individuals, farms, and plants against our own people in as far as the water right is concerned. Now, Honorable Moore, I'm sure you will understand where does the mingling of the two waterworks and the government waterworks comes into being, because the Western Cape people specifically asked that we should not leave away the government-owned land into the process in the waterworks interpretation. I don't think yes, if you say, if you are acting unaware, you might contradict this particular act earlier. So it meaning the minister must be careful in his day-to-day work. But maybe there must be a better explanation by the department or the legal advisor. Let's hear that.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think quickly, just to respond to that issue and in addition to what you've clarified. Chairperson, first of all, we need to guide against putting a substantial clause into a definition provision, because that on its own will create a problem. But if members were to look at the definition of national water resources infrastructure, which is already part of the bill, it says it means a government waterwork declared by the minister as national water resources infrastructure in terms of section 73. Chairperson, in terms of section 37 of this bill, which is the reference provision that the honorable member spoke to and said there might be some conflict. Now, in light of the definition that we have provided, it takes into account the existing legislation and what it dictates. Thus, we have put a provision that speaks to the existing definitions and the definitions of this bill, aligning them with exactly the content of this bill so that there is no misinteraction and misinterpretation or the intention of what is intended by the words that are used for purposes of this bill and for the definitions that are used for purposes of this bill. So, Chairperson, the provision that we have placed before the members, it had taken into consideration all these issues that members have raised and the concerns in relation to what might be and what might not be intended. Thank you, Chairperson.
I assume that Honorable Moore was not necessarily saying he's opposed to it, but was saying we should be careful of that possible contradictions. So if you are saying it is already foresaw, that's fine. Let's get into the second clause.
Chairperson, the second clause is clause 3. In line with the deliberations, that was the next clause that raised issues that needed attention. And what we basically provide there is that there was reference to shareholding whereas in reading the context properly, we rather use the word shares. Hence, the amendment is suggesting that shareholding be omitted, and then we must leave or put in shares as the sole shareholder being the minister in the context of establishing the agency.
Mr. Hendricks, your hand is legacy hand, or is it the hand for this clause now? Can I see hands that want to speak to that one? If none, can go to the second clause?
Thank you, Chairperson. The second clause is clause 5. Oh, I'm sorry, there is a hand.
No, that hand is, I think it's a legacy hand of Honorable Hendricks. It has been up for some time.
Thank you, Chairperson. Then we move to clause 5, Chairperson. And clause 5 is in respect of the deliberations that were had and the concerns the members had in respect of the PFMA as well as the application of the Companies Act. So what number 1 will do so that we give effect to the changes that members spoke to and trying to ensure alignment with those two acts and the intention that the department had when they introduced this bill, we are saying in order to make it easy to correct what was said and what is wanted, we are going to reject the existing clause 5, but then are providing an alternative in that regard, where we are basically saying the provisions of the Companies Act do apply to the agency as long as they will not be in conflict with this act. And under clause 3.9, which is not changing, the Companies Act and the Public Finance Management Act are applying to the agency. So that remains as such. And then sub 2 that will be effected with this clause 5 being changed is going to read as follows, which is more precise and easier to understand. It says a provision of the Companies Act which does not apply if A, any special or contrary arrangement is made in this act, so that this act will have prominence and override anything that may seek to contradict it that is found in what the Companies Act is indicating, because this is also a state-owned company, but it will have to, and it is going to be a statutory established company. Therefore, its statute or its legislation must override anything that contradicts what it has intended and has explained, and thus become the intention of the legislature by enacting it. And B, Chairperson, also provides that any provision of the Companies Act that does not apply, that provision, if it is clearly inappropriate and inapplicable, must not apply. So that is the clarity with the proposal that we have brought forward, so that it is clear what the initial clause 5 sought to achieve, Chairperson. Thank you in respect of clause 5.
I see two hands. I don't know, Honorable Hendricks, please, at some point, lower your hand after speaking, because you might be under, I might not recognize you, whilst in actual fact your hand is indeed up. I see your hand, Hendricks, and I see the hand of Stephen Moore, Honorable. Honorable Hendricks? Honorable Moore?
Thank you, Chair. There's two key places on this document where I have a concern, like not concern, I mean, there's a number of places, but I just want to ask, from my memory of the meeting, we, as per clause 5.1 here, we rejected this clause. So the point 2 is to just reinsert the clause written in a different way but with exactly the same legal meaning. So, Chair, if you can clarify, unless there was something that happened after because I had to leave the one meeting early and I had connection problems at the next one, but my understanding was that we were unified in removing this clause, and now the suggestion is to just reinsert, because point 2 is the exact same clause. It's changed legally, they've used different legal words, but it means the same thing. So is the intention to keep it? Because then why are we changing it at all? It feels like the intention is to, the committee has made a request, and at the face of it, it's being told, yes, no, we agree with you, but actually we don't agree with you, so we're not going to do what you've asked us to do. And I'm happy to be told I'm confused here, but this new clause, if you read it, does exactly the same thing that the old clause did. So I don't understand why we're rejecting the one and now replacing it with the exact same thing. Thank you, Chair.
No, unexplained, it means exactly what you are saying, Obregami. I mean, Honorable Moore. Forgive me to want to call you Brigadier. I was under the commandership of one white man called Brigadier Moore on the railways. So you're confusing my tongue with that man. Ms. Gamat, just explain to us, because indeed I remember we debated very long on two, that why should a sub entity like this agency say to us anything that it does not agree with, your honor, as an agency, which is against the act? The dictate of the agency shall prevail. Is it not the other way around? I'm sure that's what the Honorable Moore is asking. Is it not the other way around, that anything that the agency does that is inconsistent with the act, it shall be deemed to be wrong and therefore unapplicable? Just explain a bit what you mean, because if you are not explaining what you are saying, honestly speaking, the view of the committee was that no, the act must take precedence over any other matter that is being dictated to by itself. What are you saying in that too?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I will make an attempt again to explain this, and the department may also come in should it not suffice. And
can they start? Can the department start before you come with a legal guru mind? Can we hear what is the intention of the department?
That is okay, Chairperson. I can allow that. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members of the committee. As we attempted to explain in our previous meeting in which this clause was rejected, we had inserted it for the ease of doing business if in event of the Company Act having to change frequently so as to avoid us needing to frequently approach Parliament to amend our Act accordingly. Hence, we had inserted the clause for the ease of doing business. However, we had agreed that should it necessitate that the clause be rejected, we are also in order with that. When we came together as legal, we proposed the following words to be included so that we continue to have a provision that provides for the ease of doing business, for the stability of the lenders, etc. And that is why we propose the following wording to be included in the bill, should it be in order with the committee. Thanks, Chairperson.
If we do not include it, no.
In addition, perhaps, Chairperson, before you come in to what my learned colleague has indicated, Chairperson, I think we need to be, like I said when I started on this clause, we need to appreciate the principle that since this is a statutory entity, it is formed in terms of legislation, whilst there are other legislations that it must comply with and it is applicable to it. What this provision is maintaining, and because it's also a company, but a state-owned company, which means there is the Companies Act, which is in place applying to all kinds of companies. Hence, this entity, once it's alive, it must comply with them. What this then seeks to achieve, which in the explanation as was given by all the legal advisors that spoke, including the departmental information, what it seeks to maintain is to ensure that should there be conflict And should there be confusion on who overrides who between the standing legislation and this one, this legislation is given as standing in its own provision. As the principle says, a specific portfolio legislation must take a stand over any other should there be any conflict and confusion. And that is basically what this bill and this provision seeks to achieve, but solely in respect of the agency that will be formed and established out of the provisions of this act. I hope that clarifies, Chairperson. Thank you. I shall end there.
Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair. So this is exactly what my concern was. We had a meeting where we went clause by clause through the document, where we got onto this clause, where we went through an extensive process where these exact same explanations were provided. We agreed we were going to remove this clause. I think there was some confusion towards the end about whether or not, whatever the case is, but we did agree we'd remove the clause. And now in the background, the portfolio, the department and the legal team have chatted and decided they would just reinsert the clause because actually, you know, that's just what they've done. But it wasn't what we agreed in the last meeting. Just to say that the next item, there's one more thing where I'll point this out, where as a committee, I felt we were quite unified in a couple of things, and I don't feel those things are represented in this document. And this is a perfect example of the committee agreed we'd remove this clause, and other people have reinserted the clause. If that's the case, I'm not sure what the purpose of us going clause by clause was, Chairperson, because, you know, if our suggestions aren't even going to be captured in the committee document of suggestions, because we know this isn't the final version, this is our suggestions that don't need to be taken into account, or they go to Parliament, etc., etc. So I'm sitting here going, this is it's challenging, and maybe it's because I'm new, but for me, Chair, you had this removed, it's back again, and there's other elements where we wanted stuff happening, and I don't see it. So I'm a bit concerned seeing this and one other item that I'll point out, but otherwise, I just as an indicative nature of the suggestions that are here. Thank you.
No, we shouldn't move that way, Honorable Moore. Where we feel strong, let's stick to it, and where explanation convinces us otherwise, let's be convinced. We should not be stuck to one point forever. But on this one, I think even the department is agreeing with us that it will not die if we remove it, because we indeed they agree that we have rejected the clause. So in respect of the committee that set for 2 days and finally reach an agreement to remove, but solely on the basis of a principle that the act of the country shall rule supreme. So, and if you say in time where the act is not being amended, unamended, the previous act stands. So up until the act has changed, there shall be an extending. There shall be no vacuum. So you don't need the time when you are given the right to act beyond the act, because the act is in the process of being amended. Because once it is in the process of being amended, it remains the act. Once amended, that new act kicks in. There shall be no vacuum. So this clause is just preemptive. And I think I agree with you, Honorable Moore, that it should be removed. I don't know what are the other members saying, but I think I do agree with you. But the department is also not necessarily hard and fast on it. I don't know what the members. What are your views? Let me hear, because I don't want to rule on things you are not agreeing. Honorable Mhlala.
No, I support the view, Chairperson, that the clause must be removed, as we agreed in the previous meeting.
Mematuba Metseke.
Thank you very much, Chair. I was not part of the meeting, but I have listened to the deliberations in terms of this clause. There is one thing that I may want to check. If we are to remove this clause, will there be any crisis for us to to accept that the legislation will be as per the requirement. If not so, what could be the contradictory view in terms of us inserting this part of clause? Will it be illegal? Because I don't see anything. If it's in line with the Act, and it's in line with other pieces of the legislation, and it will not do any harm, definitely I would go for us that we stick to the clause and we amend if there are any changes. We can still rescind a decision of a meeting if we are not, if we see it deemed fit for us to include a particular clause. But if there's any danger or harm in terms of that, then it's something else. But if there's nothing really, but we can rescind the decision, I may go for the view that we rescind this, we rescind that particular decision and add the clause if there's no any harm that the clause will cause to this piece of legislation. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Tseke.
Thanks very much, Chair. Yeah, I remember in our previous meeting, we agreed that this clause must be removed in its entirety. So I was not yet sure why is it back, Chair, and if we remove it, is there any implication? If not, I would then agree with you, Chair, to say let's remove it.
Honorable Mashiro.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what? I'm looking at this. Last time, I think you simplified this thing very well. You said anything that is in contrary with the law is nullified. Anything. It was just simple like that. So we have Companies Act. So the Companies Act must apply in our agency. So if you look there in 5.1, where they are saying they're going to say the provision of Companies Act apply to the agency if they are not in conflict with this act. Why conflict? Because we must always have everything must be aligned. So I don't know whether you understand me. So why have we had to put that thing that if they are not in conflict with this act, there is no conflict. Hence, we are now stuck with the PFMA. We are saying everything we are doing, we are saying because the PFMA is saying that. I came and say that. Why we don't amend the PFMA first for us to be able to do this thing? And the meeting said, it's not possible, we are stuck with this PFMA until we amend the PMA. So here, it must reflect that we are stuck with the Companies Act. So I don't know why we had to explain all other things, because anything that is not in consistency with the law is nullified. It's not there. It doesn't exist. So I suggest that we remove this thing. It doesn't assist us. It makes us go back and forth and ask ourselves, why is this thing here? What does it mean really? Because anything not inconsistent with any law is nullified. It's not there. We don't have to explain ourselves. Let's remove this thing. Thank you.
Now, the assumption I'm making is that the department has also indicated that, look, they will wish to have it, but if it is removed, they will also be comfortable with that. So I think all of us are saying the same. Or say for Honorable Matua was asking, if it does not kill anyone to have it, why don't we have it? It does, Honorable Matua, because it want to allow the Company Act, the agency act of this bill, which will become the act in terms of the agency, to override the Companies Act or even the Act of Parliament. And they are saying in cases, they are saying in cases where it does not apply, there shall be no time where the Act of Parliament shall be not be applying or shall be non-existent. Up until it is amended, it remains. Once amended, it's getting into effect. So that space of ambiguity does not arise. So and I'm sure Mamgema can agree with us that the manner in which he said earlier we must not put substantive issues in the act. She's doing exactly that on this particular point. She's putting substantive matters on the bill. So no, that clause must be removed, Mamgema, as per the committee decision.
Thank you, Chairperson. May I just indicate something on response to the question about the crisis, and then I hear the decision of the Chairperson and the committee. We will then take it out. But may I just point out something, two things in response to the question, Chairperson. The first thing is that even in respect of the Constitution, there is provisions guiding the conflict in case there is conflict in laws. And that provision may be used generally. But if it comes out of the specific legislation that's dealing with the specific issue and is already there with clarity, then that will be a better and a quicker option, because we are now indicating that laws must be precise and clear and simple for everyone, including lay persons. And that was the intention, and members should recall that we indicated that on the provisions that the members have deliberated on and given us instructions, we need to ensure consequential amendments and ensure that the act or the bill, remains reading in sync with what the members have indicated. So that said, Chairperson, the second crisis, that if this clause is rejected in its entirety, even us having tried to explain, is that we are going to have to relook at the bill, because all the provisions and the cross references must then take out into consideration that this clause is being rejected and thus coming out entirely. So for us, it was the discussion and the finding one another to ensure consistency with the law and clarity with the law, as well as ensuring that the bill that is before the committee right now remains reading coherently and correctly, so Chairperson. That is the sole justification and reasons that eventually, even as we were not given a blanket check, but a caveat to say that we will take into account everything that the members have said and come up with something that speaks to everything that was raised, as well as considering the legal issues that may arise with whatever is agreed to and provided to. So in answering the question of the crisis, those are the two crises that would result, but we may find a way to attempt to deal with it. And furthermore, if it comes out in its entirety, then it means should there be any litigation or any dispute, then the principle as it stands and out of the Constitution will have to be argued. Whereas if it is in the bill and once it's an enactment eventually, it stands as the law and therefore must be implemented and applied with. That is all, Chairperson, I just wanted to point out, but I hear you. Thank you, Chair, and the members as well.
Chair, you don't recognize me. Someone messes around with my hands.
Yeah, your hand is forever up and you are not in the meeting. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I know you won't agree with me. You never agree with me, but
when does that start?
So, Honorable Chair, as you know, agencies, most people working in agencies are criminals. That's my viewpoint. And I know you won't agree with me. They're all criminals. That's why you wanted to fire 7 ministers over the last decade. But in any case, the idea of the Companies Act is to try and deal with these criminals. But more important for Al Jamaa is that we need civilian oversight. I don't know how you're going to build that in. We cannot allow agencies to continue criminalizing our water and people dying of thirst. So there needs to be consequential managers, and honourable members mentioned that. So consequential management would be what is in the Constitution, and now we're talking about the Companies Act. But more important for Al Jamaa is there must be civilian oversight. Even if we give the minister the power to appoint a civilian oversight over agencies, so that we can have the checks and balances. We cannot allow our water to be controlled by criminals. Thank you very much.
Honorable Hendricks, let me remind you what you said very succinct in the last meeting. In removing the word corrupt board of directors, you spoke succinctly against what you are now saying, that don't criminalize the position. Board members are not there as criminals. It might be the activities that become criminal in the process. Now you are saying we must criminalize every agency on the strength of what you are saying. It is wrong. But I hear what you are saying, that, and this is what the meeting is also saying, that we must not allow an agency to override the act on the strength of it being given that authority by this meeting. The act must always rule supreme. Therefore, clause 2 should be removed on the basis of that. No, we are not casting any aspersions on anybody, because you are going to be, the other day, be that member of the board. For instance, if you are no longer members of parliament, the minister can come to you to come and serve these boards, and you will have already criminalized it. You will be asked the question as to whether, do you want to work in a criminal scenario? It shouldn't be like that. You should not do that. But the clause is actually removed on Mamungema.
Honorable Mashiro.
Yeah.
No, I listened to Mam Ngema. Is it Mam Ngema? Yeah. If we can assist, I think if you think that this clause must be there, I think the only thing that
I was about to make a ruling, Mamshala, a minute. The meeting is saying that the clause must be removed. Let it be removed and go to another clause. Because the department also have indicated that they will not necessarily have a qualm if we remove it. Let's remove it.
It's fine, Honorable Mashiro. I was just assisting, but it's fine. Let's move like that. It's okay. Because maybe, Honorable Mashiro.
I'm listening to you.
I'm saying, as Mangema has emphasized, maybe there will be somewhere in the bill where we need to speak about the Companies Act to the agency. But the only thing that we can do, we must amend, I think 5.1 and say the provisions of Companies Act apply to the agency. Full stop. That thing that say if they are not in conflict with this act must come out. Then we are saying that this agency will work in terms of the Companies Act. So the Companies Act will apply in the agency. So we don't talk any other thing about if they are not in conflict with this act. We remove that sentence, that part is not going to assist us. Maybe they need to say something about Companies Act on the bill. But the fact that we are saying if they are not in conflict with this act, this is where I don't agree. So we can leave that other part. We can remove that other part. Thank you.
Chair, my hand is up. My hand is up.
Well, I can see your hand is up and my Honorable Moore's hand is up. Come in.
Thank you very much, Chair. I really don't want to contradict what the members are saying. But Chair, I still maintain that if this if this definition will apply to other clauses in the legislation and make us to do some changes in other parts at a later stage when you read with other clauses, I would suggest that, Chair, let's not be hard on ourselves. Let's really accept to reject that clause 1 and move further with clause 2. And I also agree that if it's not in conflict with any other pieces of the legislation, then let's accept it. It will help us in future to resolve disputes, to avoid litigation. The law will be precise and will definitely go a long way with this piece of legislation. I don't think now at the moment we still need to argue about something that will help us to go further. We have seen that in many a times we have been challenged throughout left and right and center in the courts of law, and we were told to go back and deal with certain pieces of the legislation. I think, Chair, if the baby is not going to fall from the tree by including this piece of definition, let's do so without qualms. That will be my submission, Chair.
No, Mama, the contradictions in what you are saying is exactly the opposite of what you are saying. This writing says where this bill we are doing is inconsistent with the act, then this bill must rule supreme. That's where the problem is. It says we are creating an agency that if it is found that in its working, it's in contradiction with the act, the agency must rule supreme. And then, can I finish? Can I finish? They are then qualifying it by saying, this is on the basis of the fact that Companies Act changes more frequent and the bills can also be amended. As and when it is amended, this bill must still rule supreme, because we have already given the scenario that will not happen. Because up until the act is amended, the act is in place. Once amended, the act takes precedent. So and I think, I'm sure that is the reason why even the department is silent on the matter, that they will want it as a smart clause, but if it is not there, they can still survive. I don't understand why. What is that we're debating amongst ourselves now?
No, if they can survive, if he's still here, Mashiro, let's remove that clause. Let it go. Done. Let's move to another. Clause 7.
Yeah. Someone is talking.
It can go if they can survive. It can go, Chair.
Okay. Gamma.
Thank you, Chairperson. We shall remove the clause, and we will have to also add the provisions that speaks to the cross-referencing and the correction thereof as the consequence of this provision being removed. Thank you, Chairperson. I shall move to clause 7.
I was blackmailing. Why I was blackmailing. It must remove a consequence. Must I remove a consequence? No, that's blackmail.
I've made my point, and I think I can only do so much, give advice. At the end of the day, the decision can never be mine. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying consequentially then, we will just do the corrections to make the bill read in sync and be flowing. That's the other I had spoken to. I'm not talking about the general consequences and impact on the committee. As pointed out, either way it can happen, but there will always be issues that may arise, and having a provision in this instance like this, which is not the first time and it's normally done, it could have helped ease the issues going forward. But as I said, Chairperson, it's the instruction of the committee and we shall take it as such.
No, that's blackmail. So you are saying when I was woomy, All other clauses that we have agreed, it is the instruction of the committee. Why specifically on this one?
I did point out, Chairperson, two things: the cross-referencing and the
you can't bring proposals to the committee when the committee does not agree with you. It can't be correct. Then you are not part of us in that sense.
I'm saying, Chairperson, the advice is this: the consequential corrections which are not part of this bill are then going to be effected, which is the cross-referencing and the renumbering of the bill, because that will be the effect of removing this provision entirely. But furthermore, it's a future consequence that the standing principle in law that says a specific portfolio legislation will trump any other legislation should there be any conflict with other legislation in place. That is a principle that we have in law, which should there be any dispute, it will have to be argued. Whereas if that was in the act as currently suggested, it would have been a much easier task. And that is all I'm saying, Chairperson, that we have brought the information to the committee and we hear the instruction and we are going to do as instructed, Chairperson, because just as Parliament is a creature of statute, we also must act on the instruction of our principals. And in this instance, it's the committee, Chairperson. And that is exactly what I'm saying.
And you are going to argue. You are going to argue in favor of the committee because you are our legal representative. When legal is needed, you will go and defend our views.
The interest of Parliament is always paramount for me, Chairperson, and that's why I make a point to provide the information and then guide the members accordingly, Chair. Thank you so much.
I see the end of the DG.
Chairperson, Bronwyn Naidoo, legal for the department. I just wanted to express that the department does support the view of the parliamentary legal.
You want to play political games now. You never said that before. You said to us, if we remove it, you are fine. If you don't remove, you are fine. Now you are saying something different.
Let's pass, Honorable Mashiro. We have discussed this matter, and the information we receive is they are fine with this thing. Now this thing of coming back and forth and saying that they are supporting each other, when the information that we got was they are fine, they can move without the application of Companies Act to the agency. Clause number 5. So let's remove clause number 5. Thank you.
Chair.
Clause number 5(2), not the whole of clause number 5. Clause number 5(2). Okay.
Chairperson, clause 3.9 is already speaking to what is in 1, and we were just amplifying what is said. So if clause 5 goes completely, 3.9 is still there to give effect to the existence and application of Companies Act and Public Finance Management Act. So
the country basis
clause 5 is different from what clause 3.9 is indicating. And what was explained, Chairperson, previously, the reference to 5.4 and 5.9 of the Companies Act was exactly an issue. And what my colleague explained as well and giving the options was exactly what we are still again trying to explain and get through the members, that expression and clarity is always better than the reading in and assumption. And that's all we are saying, Chairperson.
Can you go to the next clause,
Thank you, Chairperson. I will move to clause 7. Clause 7 is the one in relation to the functions of the agency. And Chairperson, just to provide a slight briefing and summary of what happened and this clause, the members would recall that there was an issue that we had to clarify the role of the National Assembly or Parliament. So that is what clause 1 is seeking to, number 1 is seeking to address under clause 7. And then furthermore, in number 2, and the provisions that are following 3, 4, 5, it's consequential to correct the context so that when we eventually read all the provisions there on the functions of the agency and in light of what was deliberated, it speaks to all the concerns that were raised, Chairperson. There are 6 amendments there of Chairperson. And I must point out what the other issues, as I anticipate that members have indicated there will be questions. We have addressed them in the upcoming provisions, but we will take the questions and concerns as it was earlier indicated that clause 7 is not sufficiently speaking to all that was raised. Thank you, Chair. That let me just quickly go down to make sure that there's nothing else for clause 7. So that is clause 7, which brings about the involvement of the National Assembly and the consequential changes that aligns to the issues that were raised and will also be addressed in the other provisions. Thank you, Chair.
Let me see. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Chairperson. So, I mean, I alluded to this in the previous clause because, and just as a side, the previous clause was a principled point because I am actually convinced by the department's arguments on the clause. But we as a committee had decided to remove it and now it's being snuck back in. My issue I'm raising now is on clause 7 on the first bullet point here. On page 7 in line 11, after department to insert the National Assembly full stop. So what we've just been told is that this is to align with the committee's request to be clearly, to have the parliamentary committee's participation in this clearly defined. That wasn't my understanding of what we'd agreed as a committee, Chair. My understanding as a committee was after a long discussion, and I'm sorry because I'm hesitant even now to raise this after how we rehashed everything again for almost half an hour on the previous point to fight over it. But as a committee, we discussed about you don't design legislation around the best minister, you design it around the worst minister. We envisioned a greater role for the committee within this new entity, specifically because of such concerns. There's a number of places throughout the document that would need to be reworked around selection of a variety of bits and pieces. I'm not going to go clause by clause. In the meeting, though, my understanding was that across the board we'd agreed to the principle that there needed more of a role for the committee in the functions of this entity. And it seems like that has been interpreted as we will add a single mention into clause 7 on the one line to say, insert the National Assembly, as in we will be one of the key stakeholders that needs to be consulted with. And Chair, again, and I'm sorry that I keep going back to principally, because my understanding was that the request was for a more comprehensive rework of the document to take into account our concerns of too much centralization of authority in the minister and our desire as a committee. And I'm happy for you to correct me if I'm wrong, Chair, but the way I represented this discussion of what we discussed in the meeting outside of the committee was that the committee had agreed we needed to mitigate the powers of the minister with a stronger role of the committee within this entity. So I'm not seeing that in this document. I'm not going to go point by point to say I still don't see it, but it's a concern, Chair, because I feel like we had these meetings, we had these discussions, and I went away and discussed what I thought we'd read as a committee, and now I'm seeing a very different document showing up here that doesn't necessarily represent our desire to strengthen the document as a committee, which is just, like I say, with the previous one, I'm even convinced by point 5. I understand why the team wants it in. I'm not sure we legally cannot have it in. So, but we'd agreed to take it out. It's the same thing here. I'm not going to belabor the point any further, but I do feel strongly that we had discussed this at length, and to include just the words, the National Assembly, as the totality of our intent to strengthen this documentation, it concerns me. Thank you.
No, Honorable Moore. On this clause, we were fighting, as you are saying. Okay, let me hear Honorable Tseke first.
No, thanks very much, Chair. I think all of us we agreed in that meeting that the National Assembly or Parliament must have a specific role that it plays. Actually, it was not appearing much in this bill, hence the insertion of this word National Assembly. And Chair, this emanates out of our deliberations as members of the committee. Therefore, Chair, I support the insertion of this clause, National Assembly, and all other wordings that are there in clause 7. I think it came out of the deliberations that we had, Chair, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I was to explain exactly that, Honorable Moore, that remember when this thing came to us for the first time, it was saying that the minister, the department will do 1, 2, 3. So it exactly that look, the department, and we were saying that no, the department can be alone, that the minister does report to the department and it ends there. What is our role as the committee? The committee in this case, the Parliament, meaning the National Assembly. And then we said we want to have a say in the process of doing this thing. Put us somewhere in the document. The document is putting us now. The department will do, but it will have to consult the National Assembly. So now the National Assembly is built up of portfolio committees. So as portfolio committees, it is us who is going to mandate the National Assembly as we are doing now. This bill will go to National Assembly because of us having gone through it as a portfolio committee. So in this case, I think the document represents exactly what we said in the meeting. And you will see it in the process of, as you are saying, you do not get it in other clauses. You will find it, the National Assembly is put there. Yes, of course, I'm sure that there shall become a point when we're going to debate the difference between National Assembly and Parliament. Because Parliament consists of 2 houses. National Assembly consists of the NA. And of course, this is a 75 bill. 75 bill does not go in a proper manner like Section 76 bill. Hence the National Assembly, but not Parliament. It is my view that in this case, Honorable Moore, the clause represents exactly what we said, and it should be accepted like that.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will move to clause 8 from your instruction. To the next proposal, which is clause 9, Chairperson. Clause 9 is the provision that speaks to the role of the board after we have spoken to clause 7, which is the functions of the agency. So, Chairperson, in light of the role of the board, just briefly, the issue that was raised there is in relation to F, which is the development of the code of conduct. From what was raised, this is an attempt which we tried to speak to the concerns of the members and come up with something in light thereof. What we are suggesting, in addition to all that the board will have to do, is that they must adopt and accept an interim code of conduct for the board, which is acceptable to the minister. And thereafter, within the period of 6 months of the appointment of that board, the board must then develop a code of conduct for itself, which must also be approved by the minister. What this attempt seeks to do is to speak to the gap that the members were concerned about as to how could a board be created without knowing how it must conduct itself. So what this provision then seeks to do is that there definitely has to be something interim in place. And then, as it is always better for self-regulation to uphold each and every person because they would have been involved in the process of setting up how they should be dealt with, then there is room for both of those instances, that there will be no gap in between if they are appointed without any code, but just an assumption that they could follow whatever is out there. And then after 6 months, the legislation is provided that they must comply and ensure that there is a proper code of conduct that is in place. And that is the suggestion for clause 9, Chairperson, in light of the deliberations. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I see hands in the process. Seke, is your hand up?
Oh, it's legacy and chair, but we agree with the.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Move Pumelele, there is no hand.
Thank you, Chairperson. Clause 11 is a provision that also had various discussions and interactions by the members in light of what clause 7 was indicating and who will be the non-executive and executive members, which will also be discussed under clause 24. So what we have proposed in light of the issues that were raised, Chairperson, I will attempt to generally speak to each point. Under number 1, which is speaking to the number of the persons that may be determined by the minister, there was a point that we should rather not expand and make a huge committee of nominations, and therefore the numbering is suggested then that it must be at least 3 and not more than 5 persons that forms the committee, instead of leaving it open-ended for the minister to decide. At least there is that ring fencing on the number. Then for number 2, Chairperson, it was the issue that had to speak to the experience and the quality of those that could be nominated, instead of also leaving it open-ended for the minister. There is now a criteria which we've tried, that the same nomination board, which must consider who will form part of the board members, at least they must share the same skill as the people that they will be requiring. And that's why we have just, instead of writing a long thing, we made a cross-reference which will speak to all the references that the people that must form part of the nominations committee, they must also have proven themselves with experience, skill, and knowledge under the Roman figure 1 and Roman figure 2 and 3 experiences, as we say there under number 2. Then for number 3, Chairperson, the proposal there was also to speak to the discussion and ensure that the experience of the people is clear and expanded to cover all the concerns that were raised and how it will eventually be done. And the appointment then, because there was all the issues that were raised, Chairperson, for an example, the clarity that was required in respect of the appointments under sub 7 of clause 11, we have also tried to make a coherent speaking of the provisions of the bill, that clause 11 must speak to clause 8 and all the appointments thereof. And then the other one is a consequential correction of the board with the capital letter small and the bigger capital letter, Chairperson. Then to also speak to the issues, if we turn the page on page 10, for under the issue that was raised under 8, what we have done then is that the 8 that currently exist in the introduced bill would have to be coming out and substituted with the following one that says if insufficient number of suitable persons are recommended in terms of this section, the minister may appoint those suitable and recommit to the nominations committee the outstanding number in line with subsection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whilst confirming the appointment of those that are designated and must be appointed in terms of section 7. This attempt draft was trying to look at the issue raised by members that why must the process, having undergone through everything, be that wasted expenditure when if there are people suitably qualifying, but on the virtue of a number not being sufficient that it should appoint so much of a number, then the whole process must fall off. So the suggestion is that the process will be done as indicated and the amendments proposed, but then should there be 1 or 2 or 3 that can be appointed, it's sufficient for the minister to appoint those and then recommit the process again to ensure that whatever number the board requires is eventually filled up. That is the proposal, Chairperson, in respect of the changes for clause 11, which is on the appointment of non-executive board members. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. No hands here also. The clauses is understood.
Okay, Chairperson. And the next one, Chairperson, is clause 17, which is on the establishment of committees. Chairperson, there, what we have come up as well as not if affecting the changes on clause 16, it's because the other role that the members wanted to have in the process would still be explained in the suggestions that we will talk to after this one. But what was raised in respect of clause 17 is right at the bottom of the page, of page 11 of the introduced bill, the issue of special majority. I remember it was a question raised to ask what exactly do the bill intend to mean by that, as there could be various explanations thereof. So in order to try and attempt bring clarity, we are suggesting that the word special majority be substituted with expressed and detailed wording that reads as follows. The special majority is in reference that the delegated members would be a 75% majority of the members that are delegated into these committees that are established under clause 17, which are the committees that would assist the board in terms of subsection 1 and be assigned from their very own existing members to deal with whatever issues or matters that would arise, whether it's social and ethical or audit risk or whatever, but subsection 1 speaks to the details of what the subcommittees may be and may be established by the board itself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. No hand. The second clause.
Thank you, Chairperson. The computer is refusing to move. Thank you, Chairperson. We then are not interfering with the other provisions of the bill as they are, and in light of how the deliberations went, then we went straight to clause 34, Chairperson. And clause 34 is a provision that speaks, I think it attempts to bring again the involvement of the committee and the committees of parliament, but having stipulated that it will be parliament that then dictates through its committees as to how they are dealing with the issues and the processes. But clause 34 is a provision on submission of quarterly reports and corporate plans. So what we are suggesting in light of what is already there, Chairperson, that there be an additional sub-provision, which will be number 8, that reads, the minister must table in parliament the revised corporate plan every year once the initial corporate plan has been determined and approved by the minister in terms of this section. And as we explained previously, once, excuse Chairperson, an instrument is tabled in Parliament, it is then up to Parliament to decide through its committees, and once an instrument is referred to the committee, how they engage and deal with the issue that is now before them. Hence the provision that the corporate plan for the role of Parliament, as well as to ensure that the separation of powers principle is also respected. Then once the plan is put together, it will come to Parliament, and Parliament will interrogate it and decide whatever it does, or recommendations or whatever it gives back in light thereof. That is the provision. In light of the questions and the issues were raised, we thought we'll speak to the concerns and enable the role of Parliament Chairperson under Clause 34. We've only made reference of the tabling of the corporate plan because it is our understanding that obviously the quarterly reports and the corporate plan reviewed by the minister will be speaking to both the issues, so that there's also room and space to allow continuity and functioning of the agency to get things right when they are still at their infancy stage, Chairperson. Thank you. That's Clause
35. Clause 35.
Okay, Chairperson. Again, it's similarly with Clause 35, Chairperson. Clause 35 is a provision on financial statements and annual reports. Again, as the agency will be reporting to the minister, we are also providing room that Parliament should be involved, but in their programming and the way they address their programs, they will dictate. But we are suggesting that there be an additional legislated point that says the minister must table in Parliament the annual report of the agency for consideration every year once the minister has received it in terms of this act. And once the instrument is there, the committee and its respective house will decide what is the detail of what they do, and also enable the oversight mechanisms and their involvement at this stage, Chairperson. So that is what we've suggested in respect of Clause 35, which is closely similar, but giving some meat as in Clause 34, Chairperson. I think just before I close off, as it is not indicated, what will then be added, Chairperson, is the correction of the referencing of the numbering being affected by the rejection in its entirety of Clause 5, as well as then once members have agreed on what are the changes that they accept, we will then have to add a clause that speaks to the correction of the long title to remove what has been accepted, what has been changed, so that the bill once again is still coherent and clearly congruent with all of its provisions. Chairperson, those are the suggestions we came up with in light of the deliberations. I thank you.
Linda, I say at last 5 years so long. There are no hands. Ngishuphumelela. Asiye akozana.
Lutho, Chairperson, it is to also make sure that we are not accused of having done something that is not instructed. Because we are done, Chairperson. That is the last clause. That's why I was speaking to the long title and the numbering, Chairperson.
Why usikhumbuza ukuthi reject clause 5 consistently? Why? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the time, and I'm sure the commitment you showed. It is not a child's play to deal with the bill. It's a very important matter we must thank ourselves to have done. We hope that we will find the final bill in the very short space of time. Phumelele, we are very much pressed for time. We are expected to finalize this bill by the 12th of March. So please do anything within your means that by the 12th of March we must present to Parliament, or the 13th, between the 12th and the 13th. We are very, very pressed for time. Otherwise, we are going to rise without us even finalize this point.
Yes, Chairperson, thank you so much. We will try to do that. I think you still need to do the process of adoption and so that we can move to that bill provision, adoption of the clauses and the voting that must be done on the proposals.
In the sitting of Parliament.
Here in this meeting.
In the portfolio. Yes. Yeah, we will. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other hand that want to say something? Yes.
Aren't we supposed to do the adoption? It's Honorable Mashala. Aren't we supposed to do the adoption when the final bill is presented to us? I see there's some changes to be done.
Yes. Yeah, that's why she's
like in terms of the clause 5. Yeah, no, I'm asking. I get it. She's saying now.
We should. But she's saying she's not saying now.
No. Listen until I finish. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Honorable Mashala. Where are you now? Gone.
Honorable Mashiro, I'm saying I heard she said we must adopt it today. When we still have to go and review the bill as per the removal of clause 5. So I'm worried we're going to adopt something, and then next time when it comes, it speaks certain things. Can we allow maybe by next week we have another meeting of a final bill after the removal of clause 5, and then certain changes that she had to change from the bill in its entirety, which is going to be affected by clause 5. Then on that day, this is the day that we'll adopt this bill.
That's what she's saying. She's saying we must not forget that we still have to adopt these clauses having been worked out.
Okay, no sharp then.
That's how I understood it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Nosipo?
Chairperson.
Yeah.
The adoption of the A list must be done today, or are we not doing it before we?
No. We must adopt the A list now and up until for it to change to the B list.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
yes.
Yeah, my hand is up. It's Toman. It has been up for some time, but unfortunately could not see it. I had to
read sometimes. Even now it is not up.
No, I think somebody just deactivated it, but it was. I just want, it will be remiss of me as part of the support staff to the committee to allow the committee to commit a fatal flaw going forward with the bill, particularly with Section 5. If we look at other SOEs, that clause pertaining to the applicability of the Companies Act, it's always there. Like Phumelele has indicated that it's a legal common practice that it needs to be phrased in that way. So I would like to bring that to the attention of the committee that even if they proceed, you are proceeding fully aware that it's uncommon and it's not a standard practice that that clause should be removed. So without I have heard the deliberations. But
Tamani, where were you when the meeting started? Speak of 5.
I was here, so I
no, why do I? No. You must never you must never do that. Never do that. We spoke at 5 for a very long time. You kept quiet. We are closing the meeting. You want to play clever things. Don't do that. It is wrong what you're doing. It's wrong. We have spoken more than an hour on that, or more than 30 minutes on that item. You were here. You kept silence. You kept quiet. Now we are finalizing the meeting. You want us to go back to 5. It's wrong. Don't do it. You must always be present in the meeting and be participant. Don't come here and do what you're doing. It's wrong. You must never repeat that thing again. It's wrong. You take us for granted. I am at a time where I want somebody to move for adoption of this A thing up until it comes to B. Members, we must go past this presentation.
The hand of Honorable Tseki is up.
But why don't I see the hands here? Tseki, I don't see your hand, unfortunately. Esbat, where are you? So, Madam Chala, we're misleading, man.
Okay. No, but I saw it, and she put the hand down now.
That is Chairperson.
I want, yeah.
On a spot.
Moved, seconded by Honorable Tseki on the platform. Is that what we're doing, Tseki?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Matuba. Nemio, the hand is up.
Chair,
Yes.
I second the proposal.
It has been thirded and fourth. Honorable Peterson, you want to do the same?
Yes, Chair.
Honorable Moore.
Chair, apologies. I thought my colleague was in the meeting, so he was going to raise this. With the changes of the understanding of what we've put forward, I'm going to have to go speak to my caucus on this issue. I understand it's going to go forward without our vote, but again, the way I understood our intention for the modifications of this is not how I've represented this in this outside of this meeting. So I need to go talk to them. So at this point, I had also gotten confused because I thought we needed to modify it as per the Honorable Motlala's position that we had to wait to push this forward until the actual modifications that have been mentioned but not specified were included. So in this position, I'm afraid we aren't able to support it. I abstain, I suppose. Sorry.
No, that's fine. We're still going to come back to a formal meeting where all these inputs of today will have now fused in. And then it is that time that we are going to vote either for and against in order for it to go to Parliament. So allow space, let them rework this document. We'll come back before we send it to Parliament for finalization. So at that time we'll still come.
Chair. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Honorable Masibo?
Yes, Mutala.
Yeah, please note that the EFF abstain. We are also still going to consult our caucus. But you must not forget that, okay, let me just stop there. But we still have to consult of the EFF, and then we'll come back to you.
You are still government in waiting. Mutala?
No, we are the government. We are the government in 2024. After the 29th of May, we are the government.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nasipo, it's a good dream, eh? It's a very good dream.
Talent.
Where are we now?
Minutes, Chairperson.
put it on the screen. Those who believes they want to leave the meeting, who are not necessarily part of the minutes, they can leave, but I'm not dismissing anyone. The minutes of the 6th of February 2024, the meeting started at 10 o'clock. There we are on page 1. Go to page 2. If you want to say something, just say it, because I can't see your hand whilst the minutes are being played. We're on page, what page now are we now, Nosipo? The final page of the minutes.
Chairperson,
Yes, Ms. Mshara.
I did not see, can we please go slow? I did not see anything that speaks to the nomination committee. We raised a lot of concerns on the nomination committee, that the nomination committee cannot be appointed by the minister. And then the very same nomination committee then recommend again to the minister the names of the board members. It was part of the discussion on that day. Can it also reflect it? I did not see it there.
You won't find that in the minutes as the minutes are written. You will find it in, unless if I'm sure it must be explained by Nosip. The minutes simply says what is there to engage and what was resolved. The nitty-gritty of that, I'm not sure. Nosip, what do you want to give as an answer?
It's a summary of the proceedings, Chairperson, as the detailed information is in there. It has been explained by Phumelele.
And it has been like this.
Sorry, Chairman.
No,
that
we are
is
not.
very
We are
important,
not.
Chairman.
Sorry?
Sorry, Chairman, for your permission. The issue around the Wolf kan nie skaap wagte visie. That issue around the nomination, that a minister nominates someone and then that person appoints others. That's a conflict. That's very important. That must be the main point in the minutes. Why leave that out?
But the clauses in what we have just adopted speak to that point, Honorable.
We're looking at minutes. We're not looking at clauses that are adopted. We're looking at the minutes.
No, but that's why the clauses must speak to the minutes, vice versa.
No, Chair, the respect, I disagree with you. The minutes must be a true reflection of the meeting. And as the Honorable Rebecca has mentioned, this issue around nomination is very critical for good governance.
It is not only that we resolved on, look at the minutes, whether they speak to item by item on all the matters that we see, where we have amended, where we did not amend. You won't find it is written explicit in the minutes. These are the summary of the minutes. But I think Honorable Mutala has been consistent in saying the format and how the minutes are written she's uncomfortable with. But this is how the minutes are written in Parliament. You give the summary of the minutes, not the detailed resolutions of the minutes. If you are not accepting that, and I thought Honorable Mutala has been consistent in raising this point, I'm not sure whether, Nosipo, how do we get to these detailed minutes? Because honestly speaking, we cannot have members complaining about one and the same thing consistently. And I'm not sure whether, if it is something that Parliament is not necessarily working against, for and against, just say it would close the matter rather than as consistently being seen as if we're defending that the minutes must not reflect what was said in the meeting. Nosipho.
Follow
We can't
up,
hear you.
Chair. Can you now? Chairperson?
Yes.
I used a template of another committee that just was also dealing with clause by clause. It was also shorter, even shorter than the one that I did. So okay, I will follow up with the manager on the rest of it. Must be detailed, but I used the template of another committee.
Okay.
Chairperson?
Yes, Mkala.
Yes, can we agree in this meeting that though a part where we're speaking about the nomination committee be inserted here? So when we
No, but why do you choose one, Mkala? Then it's not the minutes. You don't write minutes like that.
No, Mashigo, but you are just allow me to speak and respond afterwards. You must allow me to speak. So we must agree that we put that here. And then when we adopt with the amendments. Mr. Mashiro, to be honest, we are not saying that you must be detailed and say, Honorable Mashala said this, Honorable Mangman said this. These people have improved. They've been writing minutes properly these days. I don't know, they left this deliberately. It's not the matter of a template. It's not that thing was something that was discussed mostly in the meeting. So it must never be omitted. It must just be a summary that part of the discussions was on the issues of the nomination committee in conflict with the Arawara. This is how you must write it. We are not saying mention us by name and detail it. Just say that it must reflect here. They left it deliberately so because they don't want to put it. They've been writing minutes. They've been putting all those things that we requested before because in the beginning they were not doing that. They've been doing that in some of the minutes that they brought before us. So they must not leave this one. It's a very critical issue that was discussed in the meetings. The whole day, the first day when we were discussing this clause, it was revolving around that. So it is not correct for us to leave such an important issue that was discussed on the first day when we were discussing the clause by clause. Thank you.
No, we will be choosy picking if we do that. For instance, the biggest issue we're talking about there was the fact that what is the role of Parliament in these things? We will want to see Parliament being put into the process, and we debated quite a lot. Even this issue that we spoke about earlier of the majority vis-a-vis the simple, we spoke about them. So we can't choose one, but one on the things that we spoke about. That's why the minutes should not do that, because if you say that, for instance, if you have but you said I must listen to you. You said I must listen to you. You don't want to listen to me. And if that is how you want to run the meeting, it can't be correct. I listen to you, listen to me too. I'm simply saying the minutes, if we are going to have a vertical minutes writing, let's have that. Because, for instance, you made the point that indeed you do not want to trust the ministers, therefore the minister can be a player and the referee. And if you believe that is the reason of the meeting, it will be wrong because we did not agree with you in the meeting. So it can be the resolution of the meeting. But if you say it must say, Honorable Mshala said 1, 2, 3, and Honorable Mashoko said 1, 2, 3, finally the majority of the meeting said the following, it must reflect that. It can't reflect what you said as the result of the meeting when it was not the result of the meeting. It can't. Because we did not agree with you on your posture on that matter. So you wanted to appear in the minutes as if it was the decision of the meeting. No, it was your view in the meeting. And if you wanted to reflect that your view was that's fine. Let's have it. It's vertical. Let's have it. Because you must also not choose only one. We discussed the issue, want Parliament to be involved. We want the majority to be decided. We do not want this issue of the minister only be the one that does certain things. If you say it must be vertical, let us be like that. You can't choose only one because to you it is important. It must be important for the meeting, not for you alone. That's the point I'm making.
No.
And if in
Honorable Mashiko, if you feel like there are other issues that are outstanding here, you also can raise a hand or raise the matter here and say that this and this was also discussed. Can we put it? Don't say that we are not going to pick and choose. This is what I remember now. And you can't blame me for not remembering others. So if you feel when there's something that you remember and you think it must be part of these minutes, please bring it forward so that it can be placed in the minutes. But we are not saying the minutes must be verbatim. We are not saying that. We are saying any important issue that was discussed in that meeting must form part of the deliberation, because this template of the minutes have summary of resolution, have summary of the deliberation. So it is wrong for you to say that we never resolve on that, so we can't put that. I've never said it's a resolution. I've never said it's a resolution.
So it should vertically say you said so.
Members of the ANC in this portfolio committee also was agreeing with us that the minister is everything in this regard. Yourself too. So don't make it my own personal thing now alone.
No,
Everyone
don't speak on behalf of don't speak on behalf of others.
We were saying that. But if they are saying no, they never said, it's fine.
No,
please
don't speak on behalf of others.
It was the issue that
don't speak on behalf of others. Speak on your behalf.
So let's put it, but it's up to you as the chair committee. If you are putting it or you don't put it, we are not going to force you.
Yeah, we are not putting it.
Chair.
Yes.
I think Honorable Motlala has made this point, so it's our turn to speak now. Chair, can we there are too many things that have been deliberated on in that day. So I think majority of them were inserted in the actually all of them were inserted in that bill as we have been interacting with the legal advisor now. So I think let's move for the adoption of these minutes, Chair, as a true reflection of what transpired in that meeting.
I hear you.
Not the objection of Al-Jamaa, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Always.
This is the first time we've noted an objection against the ANC.
That's it. There must always be the beginning of the end. It's
and
not
also
taboo.
note the objection. I was waiting for you actually to adopt so that we object, but it's fine. Let me also come.
Now,
also
why do you waste time? Object from the beginning.
Yeah. Also note the objection of the EFF is not. This minutes is not the true reflection of what was discussed in that meeting on that particular day.
Can I get the seconder of Honorable Seke?
Am I seconding, Chair, or am I moving?
You are moving.
I'm seconding. It's okay. Seconded.
Yeah. No, you are moving. No one.
Oh. Okay.
No one moved.
Okay.
I want the second. No one is seconding, so the minutes can go past.
There's actually two counters. Then the counter goes.
Are members connected in this part? Just check their availability.
They are available.
No, your members are not there.
We are here, Motlala. We are here. I was not part
but
of that.
Why are you talking, Mimiako? Why are we not talking if you are in the meeting?
Chair, I can't comment on the minutes of the meeting that I was not part of.
Okay, then keep quiet. Keep quiet. Let those that were in the meeting speak. If none is speaking, then
meeting it's a one chairperson.
But a second at the minutes, it's a 1 second.
I can't like a first tell.
Go second it tula, then the meeting is rejected. Who's supposed to you?
That's proper.
Oh.
I hereby stand to second the minutes.
Who will first you? Keep second, I'm first you.
Second.
Oh, who's been pushed here?
You've been pushing Zeki, man. Go see I'm taking.
Who push at man? Ura don't want to say man, I never called this name.
You are pushing
I never called
people.
this name.
You are doing something wrong.
No, listen, Mutala. I said there are listen to me. The objection has been seconded, and the mover was not seconded. Therefore, you were saying if it is the objection is seconded and there is no second of the mover, then the objections they have it. I'm chairing the meeting. I can't consistently say something that the meeting does not say. Unfortunately,
and two people who objected, there must be a division and vote against those minutes.
No,
we don't agree with that.
What division?
We don't agree.
The minutes has been seconded, Chair.
By who?
Pushing people.
By who? Who's seconding? Who's seconding Seke?
Mr. Chairman, just note Al-Jama's objection.
Pushed to second the minutes.
Seke, I'm appeal. Seke, who is seconding you?
Seke is seconded.
Wamu faster.
Akamu faster.
Ucho jwalo yena.
It's on mic voluntarily.
He's on record, Ramu first. He's on record.
Chair, I hereby stand to second the minutes.
But what you said before that?
I said what you said before that? Listen, I said the way Liranang Mutinega thing, Carla Foster the second. Until Tamir second, something area understand. Maybe it's your tone, Chair. Just tone down. Okay, second. Thank you.
This thing of you of having people to listen to us is wrong. Okay, the minutes is seconded.
You are very out of order. This is a very public meeting. Any meeting of parliament and even meeting of
but
why now you don't want? You are very out of order.
But meeting now.
When are you leaving this thing of we are removing you soon, guys. You are giving us problems because you don't even know that these things, the committee meetings are public.
But
yeah, they are listening. They are listening to the portfolio committee meeting because they have interest of this thing of water.
Yeah, you must always tell.
They don't have
inform us. Inform us beforehand that there are people that we have invited. There is nothing wrong.
No, there are people listening.
Where are we? Comrade Grace too, where are we now?
Portfolio committee meeting.
Portfolio committee meeting. Where are you? Are you not in the meeting?
I'm in the meeting of portfolio committee with people around me.
Are you not in the meeting, Tseki? Are you not in the meeting, Tseki?
I am, but you're not
you're not listening to the meeting. That's a problem. No, Sipo. The minutes are seconded.
The minutes, Chairperson, of the 20th February.
Page 1. Page 2, go up, the introductions. There we are. The meeting was adjourned at 11. Is it 11:30? Yeah. The other minutes?
I move, Chairperson.
Matuba?
I second, Chairperson.
Any other hand? None. The meeting is duly adopted, Nosipo?
Yes, Chairperson, it's your closing remarks.
Thank you very much. We assume that we will meet in the B listing. As we have said, the meeting will be called very soon for us to deal with that for purposes of finalization of that bill. I hope we all come to the meeting, and as I have said, I profusely again, I want to apologize for having delayed the meeting at the start, but I think we have made it to the time of the closing of the meeting. Thank you very much. The meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much. Take it.
Thanks very much. Thanks a lot.